And what are you doing? They're going to say, all of his guests have PhDs, EDDs, doctorates. And they couldn't be further from the truth. I want everybody in this conversation. Growing up in Milwaukee and now living in Texas, how have your perceptions of police officers evolved over the years? And what experience have most significantly shaped your current view of law enforcement?
Yeah, good question. So yes, growing up in Milwaukee, I would have to say, John, I'm very fortunate. I haven't had the opportunity to have that many encounters with police officers, I would say personally.
Yes.
As a young person, nor even as a college student, right?
Yeah.
My understanding is that females, we have a tendency, just for officers not to be as aggressive, I guess, with us. So on the other hand, though, you see some things with young Black males, right?
Yes.
So I have a brother, and now, of course, I have nephews. And so I do think about those aspects of police officers.
Where do they live? I'm curious.
Yep. So I have two nephews still in Milwaukee.
Okay.
And then my other nephew is in Baltimore, doing some contract work with a cable company. Tons of, young male cousins.
Yeah.
In Mississippi as well.
Yeah. I used to live in Baltimore in the area as a child before my parents divorced. It's a gritty city. It's still a beautiful city.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't heard much. My nephew hasn't talked much about Baltimore. I think he's enjoying the experience.
Okay, good.
But I'll have to ask him, about how is it in Baltimore and what makes it maybe even a bit like Milwaukee or how different it is. So that's me just like living as a person, John. I would say, sometimes when I think about myself as an educator, what really stands out when I think about policing. So I worked for the state of Wisconsin for about 7 years. Great experience because I had the opportunity to visit schools throughout. I think state of Tennessee has 137 local education agencies, all the way from Knoxville, which was way to the east end, and then all the way to the west end, which is Memphis.
Okay.
And so I just sometimes would see how kids in Memphis City School, sometimes for similar actions, were treated differently. Like there were things in, Knoxville school district or maybe one of the suburban school districts.
Yeah. And I've been to both places, Memphis and Knoxville. And they're different cities.
They're different. I'm trying to remember some of those other, Eastern school districts. When a kid did something, often they were taken to the counselor or they were taken to the principal's office. But sometimes in Memphis City School, those same things, police were called. And so now that brings the whole, law element to a 15 or a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Whereas, on the other end of the state, they dealt with it as professional educators. And so, I don't know, that aspect of policing.
That's disturbing in itself.
That is disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when I was in patrol, I would find myself sometimes, because I worked the East Division, which is a beautiful area. It's just gritty from time to time. When I had downtime, sometimes I would go to the daycare centers or the elementary schools just to show up and to walk. And
did you have on a uniform?
I had on my uniform. And I would, take the earpiece out and walk in and sit down with the kids. Sometimes, initially, the administration at the different schools were really wary of seeing me walk in off the street like that. Like, what's going on?
I can see that.
And then I would just say, I just want to read to the kids.
Yeah.
First couple of times that happened, it was okay. And then they got used to seeing me.
Yeah.
And they enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
But, I did that for a reason. I did it because a lot of those kids look like you and I.
Yep.
so that they could see a different side of police
Policing.
officers,
Yes,
right?
a friendly side.
Friendly side. That,
Yeah.
and of course, I would get, and I tell this to cadets when I'm teaching at the academy all the time. Initially, you get, well, do you know Jody or do you know Rick? And I go, no, I don't really. That's my uncle. You all put him in jail yesterday. And I'm like, oh, wow. No, but, and the kids are honest because when you would ask them, well, was everything, well, no, he needed to go to jail.
Yeah, they're honest.
They're being honest. But at the same time, what I was really doing was, as I was telling you, I wanted them to see a different side of police.
I totally appreciate that.
And I think that the kids enjoyed it too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kids love seeing police officers. They're not jaded.
No.
Yeah, they love police officers and firemen and that uniform. So
and I wanted them, we would get into discussions about, I wanted them to see that they could be police officers if they wanted to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I always thought that was a good thing.
Absolutely.
So Lisa, as an educator with a PhD, I just finished an interview with a PhD friend of mine in urban education.
Yeah.
You've likely observed relationships between police and communities from a unique vantage point, but you've already gone into that. What did you see as the most critical factors that either build or erode trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve?
Yeah, so we've talked a little, John, but I do like the way that, or I like that distinction that you have there, like what erodes and then what builds, right?
Yeah.
And I think in certain ways, I think what erodes trust between the community and police officers, like when we're not sure that our young Black men, for instance, are safe.
Yes.
Physically or emotionally, right? Like that erodes trust with police officers.
I'm glad you put it that way too, because you know our son John.
Yes.
And he's been a blessing to us, and we've been fortunate to have him. And I remember when I started teaching him how to drive, and I hear people, it used to rankle me to hear that comment. Well, you've got to have the conversation. And then I found myself having the conversation.
That conversation.
And the conversation was, look, if you're pulled over by police, I need you to pay attention. I need you to listen to what they say and do exactly as they say, because your job at this point is to get home safely to us. Now, I've been a police officer, 30 years?
Yeah.
But I understand that sometimes things happen out there. And I said, look, if something is said that's out of kilter, that's wrong, that's not your job to address that out there. Your job is to come to me and tell me what happened. And believe me, I'll take care of that.
Yeah.
And he knows me.
And exactly.
So, but he's a respectful young
Very
man.
much so.
I never had an encounter or heard about an encounter where something
love that
was out of kilter.
Yeah.
And I wish that for other parents.
Absolutely. But the mere fact, John, that you had to have that conversation.
Exactly.
And our counterparts, that they don't have to have that conversation.
But here's the funny thing, Lisa. I'm glad you said that. I've talked to men who are Asian, who are Hispanic, who are white, who said they've had the same conversations with their son. Okay. And maybe it's a testosterone thing. I don't know.
Okay. That's good to hear.
But they talk to their sons and their daughters, and I found that amazing. I said, so we all have those conversations. It's just that certain of us, groups of us, have a different fear angle on it.
Feel like that need is higher.
Exactly.
Because our kids may not come home from being pulled over, and that should never happen.
That is the scariest thing to think about.
That should never happen. You're pulled over for something traffic and you don't make it home.
Yes.
That should never happen.
Which takes me, how does a traffic stop? And this is to all of the listeners and other cops out there. How does a traffic stop get into something that goes south unless, and I have seen recent video where maybe the individual had a pistol, produced a pistol, things got way out of kilter at that point. Then there's no explanation.
Absolutely.
But,
Yeah, and I think the last thing I would say on this question, I think And I spoke to it earlier in terms of eroding trust. Like
Yes, yes.
when you see something happen, not something happening with inner city low income kids, but you don't
Yes.
see it in fairly, affluent communities, right?
Yes.
Where there's that differences. But I think what builds trust, I've seen officers like yourself and others, right, who seek to really understand the community that they're in. And I think doing something like you did, just going into schools, reading to young children so that they grow up with that mindset that officers are our friends. And this
Exactly.
is something that we can actually aspire to.
Yes.
Yeah, those officers that really seek to understand the community that they're working in absolutely builds trust.
And I like the way you put that too, because I've worked with individuals who loved what they did. They loved working the areas that we worked in. And I've worked with other individuals who had a negative mindset when we went to roll call. And my question to them was, then why are you here in this division? Why are you here assigned to this team? And look, if this can't work for you,
Right.
find something else.
Find something else.
Because the citizens deserve better than
Absolutely. I would say that as an educator, like when I would meet a teacher that didn't like kids, like that always struck me as like, what?
that. Yeah, then why are you here?
Yeah, why are you here? Or, there's hundreds of schools often in a district, right? If this area of schools is not working, like you can transfer.
Then why didn't they? I mean, why, in your opinion? Is it the money?
So
Because I know for cops, that's what it is. Oh, it's
Was it
overtime. And well, look, you can do that somewhere else.
John, sometimes I would see teachers would just resign themselves to this is where I am. Yeah, some would seek to maybe get to a different building or a different community or a different area of the city to teach.
Yeah.
But some would literally resign themselves to this is where I am and I'm just going to, let my days go and my years go and retirement is coming. And those were the toughest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because it's
kids
tough on
aren't
you to
good.
work with them, too.
Yeah. And the education that the kids are getting is not their best self. It's not that best teacher.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because they don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So I know what you mean.
And it probably transfers across to the student.
Absolutely it will. Oh, we teach who we are now.
Yeah.
We absolutely teach who we are. And so, and I used to always say, kids, especially kids in urban environments, probably all students of color, but especially young Black kids, they can sniff out when you don't care about them.
Yes.
They know.
Yeah.
They're so good at reading people.
Uh-huh. All right.
Yeah, and you can tell those ones that really are seeking to understand. Police officers, teachers, all of them.
Yeah, I think it comes across.
It does.
Yeah. So, Lisa, in your experience working in municipal government and educational leadership, what qualities have you observed in police officers who genuinely connect and effectively serve diverse communities?
Yep. So I love this conversation that we're having because it really is starting to overlap.
Yes.
I think, again, still, we're talking about that aspect of building trust and seeking to understand the community that I'm working with, the people that I'm working with.
Yeah.
Who are those individuals that are key to a certain community and knowing them and really building from that point.
Don't just treat it as a 9 to 5. And
oh, absolutely not.
Just punching
and I
the clock.
get it, John. Like, we're not going to always agree on issues.
Yes.
So even as officers are doing their best work to understand where they are and to understand the people, there's also a level of professionalism where we know that we may not always agree.
Yeah.
But there's a job that I have to do. And part of it is knowing who I'm working with. But I fully get, officers are not always going to agree with what they see out there and their training. They have to bring that into it.
Yeah, they got to do their job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
there's a way to do the job, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a way to do it. And I'm always thinking about those officers that are just brilliant at de-escalating things.
That's the new thing. I mean, well, it should have always been the thing, but You know, I teach classes on de-escalation, I teach classes on use
wonderful.
of force.
Yes.
And to be a good communicator, that's part of that de-escalation package.
It is. And so to see that in action,
Yes.
you know, and to know that that officer cared enough to be able to bring a situation down, because situations happen in communities, right? Like,
Yes.
I do think poverty. So you talk about my work in municipal government. One of the past, I think he was an interim police chief before the current one.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he would always talk about the aspect of poverty and what that does for a community and its impact, you know, on crime. And so
They go hand in hand, don't
they go hand in hand, unfortunately.
Yes.
Poverty and crime. And so things are going to happen in community, and we absolutely need officers to use the training, right, that they've had to still leave that place better than the way it was.
Oh, yeah, the way we found it.
Yeah, the way we found it.
Yeah. Okay. When you think about the ideal police officer, what specific character traits, Lisa, and professional competencies do you believe are non-negotiable
Yep.
for someone serving in law enforcement?
Yep. Thorough training, John. Thorough training that that's inclusive of diverse perspectives.
Okay.
So, you know, I can only imagine, right, that for you all as law enforcement, that, you know, law enforcement is law enforcement. Like,
Yes.
no matter what community that you're in, I'm sure that exists.
Yes.
But I do think it can be nuanced based on the community that you're in. I think,
That's interesting.
yeah, because it's hard to, I think it would be hard to move through or negotiate law enforcement in a low-income community versus, you know, maybe a more affluent one.
Yeah.
And so I do just wonder, right, how law enforcement is nuanced based on income, based on race, based on geography, and what area of the city that we're in.
And then, you know, you
That
take
thorough training is...
Yeah, you take into account some of that's going to have to go to the way a person was raised. You know, I remember asking when I was teaching recruit classes, how many of you have lived or been in this neighborhood, been in a neighborhood that's predominantly black, predominantly
that's
Hispanic?
a good question.
What was your experience in high school with black, Hispanic kids? Now you can say Asian
you really
or
can.
Middle Eastern
Yep,
kids.
we can.
And if you have someone who has never experienced being around these people, yet they want to come into policing, and then they're thrown, well, they're not thrown. I'm being graceful when I say that. They elect to go to a community where you have that demographic. Then the question is why? Because in every city, Fort Worth is no different, Dallas is no different. You have shifts in those demographics. And if you're not comfortable with that, you could elect to go to another area.
Oh, wonderful. That's good to know.
But when many years ago, you would ask a recruit class, where do you want to go when you graduate? Oh, I want to go here. I want to go to the East Division.
Okay.
And you're like, okay, why? Well, I understand you get a lot of work over there.
Oh, wow.
That's the wrong answer. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I absolutely do. Yeah, my heart is, is going out. Like,
when I look at an individual like that, I'm saying, no, you need to go to West Division, or you might want to go to North Dallas. You might want to, because you're going there for the wrong reason. And so for you, the ideal, you want someone who's a good communicator.
Absolutely. And who wants, like you said, who wants to be there.
Exactly.
Even if they don't have experience with that community,
who's
their
open
hearts
to
and
it.
mind are open to it. Absolutely.
Okay.
To learning.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To learning more about it. Like, you know, they've heard maybe some things and they want to make a difference.
That's a big thing.
A lot of folks come into being a police officer and firemen because they want to make a difference.
Yeah.
And so Yeah, I welcome those who maybe haven't had as much experience in a diverse community.
Yes.
But like you said, their hearts and their minds are open to
Got to
it.
be in the right place.
Absolutely. Now, I think it's also key, John, absolutely thorough training. But I am in awe sometimes of just the authority that police officers have. And I know you have to have it. I know you have to have it to keep the
You have to be mature to understand that,
yeah, but to keep us as citizens and residents safe. Like,
Yes.
I get that. And I'm sure you all as in the academy do a great job with recruits talking about that authority.
Yes.
I don't know. Sometimes I wonder how often maybe do regular citizens come maybe to some of the academies and just
We
talk.
do have Citizens Academy training.
Oh, really?
Lot
I'm thinking like talk to the recruits about, we know that you have the power to shoot
Yes.
and to kill.
Well,
That is such a heavy responsibility.
It's a huge responsibility.
And
You know,
so,
and you know, I could get into the nuances of that. Shooting to stop, and you know, you're trained to deal with situations and how you deal with situations that escalate. And you're also trained that if the situation was to de-escalate, how to walk down that ladder. Again, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That requires someone who understands that's an awesome an awesome amount of responsibility.
it is.
And you have to deal with that in a mature and professional way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are some of the things I think about, as non-negotiables. Just being able to carry that type of responsibility
Yes.
and weight
Yeah.
of that position and the badge that you hold.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I sometimes wonder, like, what does that conversation look like from those like you who are now instructors,
Yes.
right? How is that message being delivered to new police officers? Definitely giving them the technical expertise that they need.
And the technology is there. I mean, it continues to get better.
Oh, good.
But it still comes down to that individual
Okay.
cadet.
Okay.
Do they meet all of the standards to carry on this responsibility? And if I could get into a long litany of rants. If they don't, then why are we wasting our time with them?
Yeah.
Because
it
if
could be
you're
detrimental to a
Yes.
community.
If you're not fit for this duty,
Yeah.
then you should find something else.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate what you say
Oh.
are non-negotiables for you.
Yeah, those two are non-negotiable. Having that heavy conversation
Yes.
about the authority that you're carrying, that training,
Yes.
consistent training, and training that's in a diverse communities as
Good.
well. Yeah.
Good. Given your background in urban education, how important do you think the ongoing education and training are for police officers, and what specific areas should that training emphasize to better serve today's communities? Good communication skills.
Absolutely. So I think it's very, very important.
Okay.
And so, yes, absolutely good communication skills. So when I thought about this question, John, I almost thought about it like from an educator point of view.
Go ahead, give it to us that way.
So, first year teachers. So yeah, absolutely ongoing training, just like I think teachers should
gonna love
have
this. Go
ongoing
ahead.
training,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But your first year teachers, they need something different than teachers who've been in the field and in the classroom
Yeah.
for years. And so sometimes I hold them in their own separate category, those first year teachers. But then, those second through fifth year teachers, they need something different. And so a police officer, those second year to fifth year police officers,
Yeah.
to me, I think they need something different in terms of training than that mid-career officer.
Yeah.
And definitely that veteran officer who's
Yes.
been there. So when we talk about ongoing training, I wonder how that training could be nuanced to really give that first year officer what they need that is likely very, very different from that 20-year veteran.
That makes sense. And that's why we have different licenses. As an African American woman who's worked on both educational municipal leadership, Lisa, what advice would you give to police departments seeking to build stronger, more authentic relationships with Black communities and other communities of color.
Yeah.
That's the catchword now, authentic.
It is, and that's really stood out as you were saying it. And so what comes across is consistency.
Okay.
Like we would like to see and have reports on.
Yes.
Consistency in the various communities.
If you're going to treat one person one way, then be the same in the other.
It's sometimes hard to see those statistics all the time
Yeah.
of, because again, I have nephews, and I have male cousins. And so when I see those statistics, we're always on the negative end of them, even when we are, to a certain extent, not the greatest demographic in that community, right?
Yes.
But when it comes to law enforcement, we are on the higher end of arrest, certain types of offenses.
Yes.
And so I can't say
That's
I
the
know
quandary.
enough about law enforcement
Yes.
to know what that could look like.
Well, you
but
contribute right now in this conversation. I mean, that's the quandary, I think, for some
Yeah.
people.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think as a municipal staffer who is now in the transportation department
Yes,
for the
yes.
city of Dallas, which is
Yes.
interesting. So we have a commitment, right? We're public servants. And
Exactly.
So we have a commitment to serve
Yes.
residents, to serve them well,
Yes.
to meet their needs. And so when you talk about it from a law enforcement point of view, I would say, being able to meet the various needs of the community.
I think that makes sense, and I don't think that's a huge lift.
Yeah.
Somehow
So
we
it's like-
make it a huge lift, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't have to be.
Yeah. Training, I think, and commitment
Yes.
can absolutely meet the needs
Okay.
of our communities.
All right. Looking forward, looking at the future, what gives you hope about the potential for positive change
Yeah.
in policing, and what specific qualities or practices do you believe officers should embrace to earn and maintain public trust? And I know we've talked
lot.
about that throughout this conversation, but can you think of anything else?
So here's the thing, John. This is what I'm seeing in some of the 18 to maybe 25, maybe 25 to 34.
Okay.
This younger population really seem to be embracing the differences that we all have.
Yes.
So we're both here in Midlothian and live here.
Yes.
I was at our local Chick-fil-A recently, like right before the Thanksgiving break, and just saw a table full, and these kids had pulled a couple of tables together.
Yeah, okay.
A bunch of high school students. I can look at students now and tell, like, if they're middle school, high school.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is of fun, and both genders. It was Black girls, white girls,
Yeah.
Asian students, and I almost wanted to take a pic. It was just so wonderful to see, and so I do think when you talk about hope, there is this younger generation that I think they're embracing differences that we have,
And I am so happy to
and
hear
that
that.
gives me hope, because these may be future officers.
I was just about to say
Yeah.
that. Those are the people we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great to see.
Okay.
So that does absolutely gives me hope.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dr. Lisa Rainey, thank you so much for
Absolutely.
contributing to this conversation.
Yeah, thank you for having me, John.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
Okay. All right, Dr. Lisa Rainey, thank you so much for your contribution to this conversation. That's it. I'm looking forward to the next one. I'll see you on the next one.